Hi everybody, this is Jason Pegler. My name is Jason Pegler. I'm the owner of Chipmunkapublishing, the mental health publisher, which I set up in January 2002 after several months market research in 2001 and having been diagnosed with manic depression in 1992 at the age of 17. Now, I'm here today to talk to you about something that I've invented called mental health empowerment technology. And this is specifically designed to help anyone who has a mental illness overcome, conquer, learn to live with, manage their mental illness better. It's a unique model that I've invented after many years of learning to understand the stigma attached to the manic depression that I had, the label of a diagnosis, the social construct, the reality of being a bit different, learning to live with the humiliation of a mental illness. And what I'm offering is a 1 hour phone call consultation with me where I can mentor you to advise you to how to overcome your mental illness. Now, that's specifically who it's designed for. It's also designed it's also relevant for people who work in mental health, who want to understand their clients' needs better and empathize with them more, and also carers who want to understand the nature of the feelings that goes with having a mental illness and strategies that can be learnt to empathize with and empower more. One thing that I found a lot over the years is that when I wrote my autobiography, A Can of Madness, an autobiography on my living with bipolar, is that thousands of people have written to me and they have identified the way that I described mania and how to come to terms with that mania. So that's something that it wasn't what I was expecting when I wrote the book, to be honest, but that people connect with that in a really big way. So what is mental health empowerment technology? Well, like I said, it's something that I've created, and because I feel that there is a real need for people with mental illness to have a solution, to be offered a solution, rather than be told that they will have a mental illness their whole life, they won't be able to get over it, they'll always be on medication, and they live kind of zombie lives, and things like that. Now, I must stress it's completely up to you to take responsibility for if you're on medication and everything, liaise with your psychiatrist and everything. That's kind of not what this is about. This is really about strategies that you can use and how I can help you in a 1 hour consultation. Of course, I'll be doing webinars, seminars and things like this, already do this kind of thing. So now, how can I help? And what is mental health empowerment technology? Well, it's kind of a combination of lots of things. I developed a model. Writing saved my life. Okay, so I've developed a model which I call WACPI, which is writing as catharsis and publishing as empowerment. And I think when a lot of people can write a memoir on mental illness, but if they're writing the wrong thing, i.e. something that's sad, how therapeutic is that? That's kind of like almost like the old model of psychotherapy where you just look at the most horrific thing and in your past and say, well, that must be what triggered everything. How'd you get out of that mindset? So, but mental health empowerment technology, it's not counselling, it's not cognitive behavioural therapy, it's not NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, it's not coaching, it's not consultancy, it's kind of mentoring. Really, it's a kind of combination of incorporates all of those different things that I've just said in some kind of shape, form, or other. But it's really coming from the heart of someone who's experienced mental illness and who has the mindset to accept that is a reality, that's happened in the real world, but mentally knows that they can overcome it, because they know more than anything it's a kind of a label, and it can happen to anybody. Anyone can break down at any moment, and we all have the potential to come back, to break through again. So this is something I've been developing for a long time, and it's really something that came to me through an epiphany in 1992. It's a long time ago. This is when I was a teenager. So I was in a psychiatric ward. I'd been in there for 6 weeks, and I thought I was playing a computer game the whole time, and that I was God and I was the only person in the world that could stop an inevitable nuclear war, that I was head of the European Hardcore Committee, and all these crazy things. And then I had an epiphany. I realised where I was, and I thought, oh my God, I'm in a psychiatric ward. How humiliating is this? I'm in Coney Hill, the loony bin in Gloucester. It's one of those old psychiatric wards, big grounds and all this kind of thing. I thought, oh my God, I'm in a psychiatric ward. The only way I can get better is to psychoanalyse myself and create a Hollywood blockbuster movie. Therefore, somehow making myself famous from all this pain, and therefore becoming the Jason Pegler that I always assumed I was going to be, i.e. successful, loved, significant, all this kind of thing, making a contribution to the world, all this kind of thing. And then at the same time I thought, well, then I can help everyone in here for the utter humiliation they feel for having a mental illness, and they all look so miserable sat in TV room. There's like 15 people just sat there, like sort of catatonic, almost like and this just ripped through my veins like nothing that has ever happened since the birth of my 2 children. That's the only thing I can compare it to. If you're parents, and you probably know what I'm talking about. But as part of my kind of career or life in any other way, it just ripped through my heart. And I had a calling. I said to myself at the same time in my head, I said, I know I am mentally strong enough to deal with this and cope with this, and that this is my destiny, my fate. This is my role. Just like Virgil wrote out a role for Aeneas in the Aeneid, in his fantastic epic novel. This is how I felt my calling was in life. And I feel that we all feel like we have a calling in life, whether it's to be a mum, whether it's to be a teacher, or or a policeman, or whether it's to live by experience and adrenaline and love, or whatever. We all have some kind of calling, and we all have significant moments, that shape our destiny and what happens to us. I had something quite really powerful happen to me at the age of 17, and I think that's quite early. It's quite a young age to be diagnosed with something like that, and because until then I had lots of skills, and I had quite a lot of success, and a difficult but a good upbringing as well, in many ways. I felt I was unique, but going through that experience definitely made me unique in a different way, and an unexpected way, and made my life more of a puzzle, and it turned into this mental health crusade. So with this 1 hour mental health empowerment technology phone conversation, you pay in advance one-off. The reason why I want it 1 hour is because I want to make sure that I need to know a little bit about the person. Okay, so, and I'll be asking lots of questions, and these questions, they're not set in stone. It depends on what information you give me. Okay, and what I'll be doing is helping you paint a better, it's almost like a better map of your life, a better way of mapping your life out, and ways that you can, strategies you can take straight away to implement improvements in your life, so that at the end of your life, when you come face to face with yourself later on, you're looking at the person that you actually are, not the person you could have been. I think that's really powerful. And if you imagine that you've passed away and that you're in heaven, let's hope we all go to heaven, and you meet an alien from another planet and they say, what did you do on Earth? What contribution did you make on Earth? And you say, excuse me, what are you talking about? How many people's lives did you affect? What impact did you make? This kind of thing. So it's all about reaching your full potential. And people have been asking me for over a decade, people have been asking me for specific advice on, mental health and things like that. And I used to give people a lot of advice for free for a long time, and it worked pretty well. And then I thought, well, for quite a long time I thought, look, I'll just focus on the publishing and do that, because as a publisher I don't have a view on someone's particular condition, right? It's an impartial thing, which is really important as a publisher. Okay, I can advise on legal issues in the book and things like that, and that's quite important, and the marketing, the positioning and things like this. And every day people ask me for ideas of developing books and things like that, and that's advice I give for free as part of my publishing. So I'll always do that, assuming I've got time, because it's growing all the time. So what really is the exciting about this is that I feel like I have a strategy to cure mental illness, to be perfectly honest. And okay, it's quite a utopian ideal, because more and more people are getting diagnosed with mental illness every year, and really every 1 in 4 of us have it at any one time in any 12-month period, and it's on the increase, and more people are being diagnosed. We have coffee disorder, there's probably Twitter disorder, Facebook disorder now, there'll be Foursquare disorder, Google Plus disorder, social networking anxiety, you name it. Like, there's just more and more things. Really, it's kind of, in one way, it's the limits of linguistics, the limits of language, that we have to kind of compartmentalize things. Otherwise there'll be anarchy as well, won't there? If you don't try and treat someone who is acting in a very peculiar way, really a manic, going around, try and give you an example, I don't know, going around putting strange messages through everyone's door in the morning, talking about talking about a nuclear war that's going to happen, or a European hardcore committee that just exists in someone's mind. So there's lots of possibilities. Now, one thing that I'll be incorporating into the conversation is I'll be lifting your spirits. Okay, so you might can't join the conversation and say, oh yeah, I'm doing this is hopeless, and I'll be giving you specific remedies, strategies, so things to go. The great thing these days, you see, is when I had my own epiphany, there was no Google, there was no, it was kind of, the voice of the world almost came through Hollywood in a way, the kind of creative hub. That's what I felt. Now with information, it's just such amazing. You can Google whatever you want to find out. You can share information with so many people on Facebook, and the wealth of information you get from these social networking sites of people being themselves is unbelievable. So there's such a huge resource of information out there, and I'll be giving signposts, and there'll be like just amazing opportunities for you to implement the strategies that I say and take notes while I'm talking. And it's really important to act on what I'm saying, because if I give you lots of things to do and then you don't act on any of them, well, it's just going to be like, oh, that was a great conversation, but what difference did it actually make? If I say, let's do this, this and this, then that's going to make a real difference. But what also I'm going to do is to improve the way that you look at yourself, improve the way that you're likely to make decisions and go and act and not procrastinate, give you a real sense and vision and feeling that you can really achieve what sometimes you just might daydream about or might come into your mind just for a moment and then disappear, and then you get trapped in that negative cycle of thinking. And for some people it might be a 1 degree shift that you make after that phone call that goes through a week or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. For other people it can be a complete turnaround of negative thinking, and can just complete turnaround, 360 degree turn of positivity, and you keep pushing and pushing it. And we all have peaks and troughs, so we all have difficult days, but I'll be talking about things as, what can you do last thing at night that will help you for the next day? How can you plant messages in your unconscious mind, your subconscious, superconscious mind, so that you can act better? What is it that you really want to do? What is holding you back? How do you perceive your mental illness? What actually happened? Can you sum up what happened in 20 words and then say where you are now and say where you want to be in another 20 words? It's not a 20-minute conversation of, I went through this and this and this. Can you sum it up? Can you use brevity to say, look, this is what happened to me? Draw a line in the sand and then get over it. Is writing going to help you to get in a position where you can do that quicker? So, what other strategies can you use? What other personal development nuggets can you use? People who have led psychology over the last 50 years, psychological thought. Who do I think is relevant for you that you should be going out and reading and listening to MP3s and things like that? How do I think you can contribute to society in a better way? What can you do to make your friends and family view you in a better light and support you instead of judging you? Things like this. What aspects are there in your life that are out of sync, out of balance? So, and how to remedy that as quickly as possible. So it might be, okay, your work life is okay, but your home life isn't, so you're too much into work. And then you might have both of those okay, but you're not looking after your health, or you feel stressed, you don't get any time to yourself. How can you position your life in a way that you can get everything in balance so that you have a happier life, a happier self? Because what you'll find is what you study in life is what you end up becoming. So ask yourself the question, are you studying happiness right now? Are you studying happiness? Well, no wonder you're not happy. Do you see what I mean? So, and there's so many amazing happy things that we can study that you might not be aware of. And okay, how much time do you have to do this? Well, what do you listen to on your way to work? Do you listen to anything on your way to work? If you're sat at home, do you watch the news? Well, why are you watching so much news? Because it's depressing, right? Shouldn't you be making your own news, or at least selecting the news that you want to watch in a completely different way? The younger you are, the more you'll understand that, because the younger you are, the more you create your own news anyway, by the apps that you select, the the tagging that you're doing and things like this, and all these kinds of ways of improving yourself are not static, so you have to build on them every day. But if you feel like saying, you're in charge of your life, so you can set all these goals, okay, and you can, most people don't even set goals. Women are better at setting goals than men, actually. That's generally. If you find, okay, I'd like to set some goals, but I don't know how to do it, well, I could give you some really good strategies of setting goals that you might not have thought of, and looking at ways that you can really understand, well, okay, so I've set all these goals, but I have to stick to them. Well, no, you don't. You can just tear them up and start again. It's your life. You're in control of it. So whilst I'll give you some amazing strategies, everything's not set in stone. But there's certain things that you do, if you act on them, that you'll find that it's kind of how smart you are using your time. I think that's a great skill for everyone in life. Can you be extremely smart using your time? Because then you'll find that the next time you spend an hour on doing something, you'll be 2, 3, 5, 10 times more productive. And we all have a limited amount of time on Earth, whatever our religious beliefs in the afterlife or karma, whatever. We all have a limited time, and we all want to make the most of it, and we also want to have as happy as impact on other people as we can. And we love our friends and our family, or we admire people in the world that we haven't even met. So how can we pull all these things together and really take ourselves to the next level? And how can we master mental health empowerment technology? Well, this is a model that I'm spending the rest of my life pushing this model out there, because I want to stop the 1 million people that commit suicide every year. I want to make that number 0 if I can. I want to make it as low as possible. Just make some kind of contribution. Because I've been there, and I'm never letting myself get back into that space. It's just not going to happen with me. So the people that I can help along the way to stop themselves getting that there, and once they're mentally strong enough, they can be ambassadors to stop other people getting that way, then that's happy days. So, have you ever seen Happy Days? I feel like mental health empowerment technology is kind of like, spending an hour with the Fonz, if you like, here to cheer you up. And I'm here to cheer you up and give you strategies you can take away and go and implement and make yourself even better. And what I don't want to do is to kind of tie people into a kind of coaching contract, as it were, where you have to pay for 6 or 12 sessions in advance, and you're almost in a kind of desperate state to improve and to make the most out of something. And there's all these different methods of coaching. You don't know what coach to choose, and then of course coaching is very specific in the sense that now they've got coaches about it was all life coaching, wasn't it? And then you've got image coaches. Now you've got coaches on specific things. You've probably got Twitter coaches now. Certainly, yeah. And you've got all these You know, it's like anyone can be a social media expert at the moment, can't they? Social media expert. Yeah, so anyone can be a social media expert because there's so much social media about, and there's so many different ways of explaining it. Well, you see, I don't feel that anyone can be a mental health expert because I don't think anyone has been brave enough to attack this space. Experts at anything need to be someone who's experienced it, right? So if you can have an expert at mental illness, it's got to be someone who's gone through it and who's made the most of it and got better. That's a fact, and that is where I'm coming from, guys and girls, okay? And it's just so important to me that you get the most out of this 1 hour, mate. It's something that is just hugely exciting, and I'm sure that you'll get the value out of it. It will vary in price. It's not a set price because it's something that I'm testing, but I'm doing an introductory offer that really should be, I think it's probably worth 5 times what I'm, at least 5 times, maybe even 10 times what I'm selling it for. But I think that's important because the more people that I can get interested in it and doing it, the quicker we can help the world in a way. And what I want to do as well is to develop people so they become trained in it, so they can go out and do it themselves. But in order to do that, you have to have experienced a mental illness. That's a prerequisite. You might do a different form of it later where, okay, you can be a carer or a client or something. But for me, you have to have gone through the insane experience of being diagnosed with mental illness or whatever it is. Because if you've got the mental strength to get over that, then you can be a force for good, my friends. You can really stand out, and you can become a great part of connecting the universe together and creating harmony within it. A great part of empowering other people so that the world is a better place, so that we can really help tackle the injustices in the world and the starvation, the poverty, the wars, all the important things that living in the Western, being born in the Western world, myself being born in England, that I've taken for granted growing up. And a lot of you will have taken that for granted growing up as well, but some of you won't have, who are listening to this, and I can almost feel your kind of heart coming through the video right now. This is what I'm talking about. This is mental health empowerment technology to help to save the world, to help make the world a better place. I'm a writer, so forgive me for being dramatic and a visionary. So I still have that bipolar diagnosis, although I call myself former bipolar. It just sounds much better. So this 1 hour conversation is going to blow your mind. It's going to be the best experience possibly it's be the best experience you've ever had in the mental health system. I guarantee you that. And the great thing is that you're not in the mental health system while you're talking about it. It's just kind of, it's outside of it, but it understands it, okay? and it's brought everything from the commercial world, all this, the knowledge for self-improvement. I've modelled the greatest people in business, sports, fitness, nutrition, motivation, coaching, NLP. Modelled the masters. I have a love of learning, and all the knowledge I have put into my brain is there for yours for that hour. I'm going to pick out the nuggets, the best bits for you. So I'm off to the gym now, and I hope you've enjoyed listening to me. I wish you to have an absolutely fantastic day. Look out for the information below, and you can always click on the website Chipmunkapublishing, CHIPMUNKA publishing.com. But there'll be links here and information here about the 1 hour mental health empowerment technology conversation with Jason Pegler.